Okay, we have another special guest calling in. This is Rachel. This is Ryan Samsel's wife.
Hi, Rachel.
And she would like to address everybody.
Rachel. Rachel.
Rachel! 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 Rachel!
How was everybody out there today?
Beautiful.
Good.
Happy New Year.
Yes, happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I was joking with Rachel a little bit earlier. I actually spoke with her for the very first time almost exactly a year ago. On New Year's Eve, I was in Times Square. I had a sit-in, and we had been texting back and forth about Ryan for a couple of weeks, and we spoke for the first time last New Year's Eve. So, deja vu, Rachel.
Yes, it is a deja vu moment. It's pretty weird, and that's pretty cool that you remembered that, and you reminded me that. Because I think I reached out to you because I was going through some troubles with my situation, so I was reaching out to you to get some legal advice and some help for guidance and stuff, and here we are today.
Yeah. Do you want to speak a little bit about you're a J6 defendant, correct?
I am.
Okay. Don't talk about your case or anything. I certainly don't want anything that can be used against you or whatever. But what is the status of what you're going through?
So my case is actually resolved now. But it's kind of hard because I kind of don't want to talk about it because the government's kind of watching every move that I make.
Yeah. I mean, basically they're leveraging and using whatever they can against Ryan, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So anything I say, it's like they can use that against him and then turn it around on him to make it look like he's, some bad person. So I just kind of watch what I have to say.
Right. But a lot of us know what Ryan has been through. Could you give a brief overview of kind of what Ryan has been through here in D.C. and?
I mean, he's been through an absolute, it's just been awful. So he was arrested on January 30th, and he's still detained and in custody. Now he's in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania. But his first assault was in D.C., and he was pretty banged up from all of that.
Right.
And then he got moved over to Virginia, and then he was in 3 different facilities there, and then the last one before Lewisburg, he was in Northern Neck Regional Jail, and that's when, things went down there. So I wrote you a letter, and it's something that I would like to read the letter out loud if I could, just to let everybody know what is going on with his situation.
Absolutely, please do.
All right, give me 1 minute. Let me just try to find it. Bear with me. I'm kind of blind, so I'm reading off my phone.
No, that's fine. It's like, we've been here since August 1st, and we've actually called attention on a number of occasions what happened with Ryan here. We have guards out here every night, and there was an incident that happened at one point in time with one of the guards that we believe was involved in what happened with Ryan. We had a live streamer out here that got assaulted. And, I mean, through the ordeal of that, we learned firsthand just how corrupt, not just here at the jail, but, I mean, the Metro PD, the judges themselves. I mean,
they're all corrupt.
We had a guard here assault a live streamer. It's all on video.
Oh, my gosh.
He was, when we called to report it, our live streamer was actually arrested for assaulting the guard. Imagine that. And then the next day they dropped all charges with him, so they brought him to jail for the night. And then when they released him, 24 hours later, he was served with a restraining order from that guard.
Oh my gosh.
And 2 weeks later, when he had a hearing as to whether to make that a permanent restraining order, the judge in the case, in spite of seeing all of the evidence, granted the restraining order, so that live streamer is no longer going to be part of the vigil here.
That's upsetting.
That's the kind of corruption that we see and have experienced here since being here. So.
Well, I just hope you guys are, all protected out there. That just makes me worry even more for you guys and your safety out there.
We try to take as many precautions as we can.
The police are here.
Exactly. The police is here for whatever that's worth. But, the biggest part is, we believe in freedom, we believe in liberty, we believe in justice, and we will not be deterred no matter what they do to us. So.
We got to keep moving forward, just like Ryan says, and can't give up. We just got to fight through this.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Do you have the letter? Or?
I do. So let me just pull it up here.
If you'd like me to read it, I can read it as well. So either way.
I can read it aloud.
Perfect.
So it says, "Hi everyone, this is Ryan's wife. I'm speaking on behalf of Ryan and would like to..." Sorry. Just so hard.
I know. Let me bring it up and see if I can read it for you.
Yeah. I'll try to push through this.
Okay.
I'm speaking on behalf of Ryan and would like to address to all of you some concerns about the abuse that goes on in several of the jails housing January 6th political prisoners. A few months ago, after January 30th, 2021, when Ryan was arrested, he was detained in D.C. Correctional Facility. On March 21st, 2021, Ryan was woken up and viciously beaten by the hands of the correctional officers. The COs were clearly directed from a higher power of authority to physically assault Ryan. Shortly after, Ryan was moved to Virginia and held in 3 different facilities. While in Northern Neck Regional Jail, under the orders of Captain English, Sergeant Taylor, along with a few others, had Ryan cuffed and beaten while they were all yelling and demanding him to get down. So he followed the orders and got down to the ground. I apologize. I get emotional sometimes.
Stay strong, baby.
If you'd like me to
We
read
got
it.
time. We got the time.
I'm getting through it. I have to.
Amen. Amen.
Ryan says the night before they moved me off to the J block for no reason and put me in cell. While visiting with my lawyer, I was ordered to be cuffed in the front by the doctor's orders because of his blood clots. Sergeant Taylor, who was a captain at the time, refused these doctor's orders, forced me down to the ground, and Captain English stood behind me. Sergeant Taylor demanding that he stab me and slammed my head into the wall. Then they returned me to the hole, put me into another cell with a camera, but was in view of the block camera, and they came back in and beat me, twisted my hands behind me while being uncuffed, and spit in my face and refused to give me food. Later, I passed out and was forcibly given Narcan, which I don't know if any of you know what Narcan is. It's medication for overdoses. The guards told me that I had better say I fell out of bed due to drugs. I was refused yet another hospital trip by the prison doctor. A second doctor was called and told prison officials not to take me to the hospital until he got there. Dr. Dudley works at the jail as well as the local hospital. I called my wife for help and she called my lawyers. And then this is me when I got on the phone with him. When speaking with Ryan after the assault, it took 3 times to connect with him on the phone because it would cut off like they would cut the phone out for me to not talk to him. So when we got through to one another, he tried talking, but I could barely understand what he was saying. Ryan was slurring his words and sounded very disoriented. At points of the conversation, he was very quiet and to yell to get him to talk because he was like in and out of consciousness. I'm not sure if he was going in and out of consciousness, but I could make it out his words that he needed help, call his lawyers, and he can't breathe, and they gave him Narcan to call 911. Sorry I'm dragging this on, but I'm just trying to tell the whole story of what had happened on that day.
Absolutely.
So the lawyers were able to talk to Ryan after his assault, and they were having trouble figuring out what he was saying too. I was yelling, saying that they need to do something to help him. He could be dying. I told Ryan to hang in there. I just have flashbacks from this. It's just awful. I'm so constantly worried about him all the time because I don't know how he's doing in there, how he's being treated.
Right. Absolutely.
It's just,
Totally understandable. Absolutely. I cannot believe you had to go through that. I can't believe that Ryan had to go through a lot of this.
yeah, I just wish I could just trade spots with him. It just hurts just seeing him go through this and not getting the medical treatment. I just don't understand it. I don't understand why he can't get this medical treatment. It's been like 2 years now, and he's still crying for help.
And that's one of the reasons why I really wanted to try to get his story out. And I think you're the best person to do that. And, you know, we really need to start a national campaign, you know, to fight for medical treatment for him. You know, we did that at one point with Christopher Raechel, and we really need to do the same thing for Ryan. I mean, what he's had to endure, you know, the complications that has been created. I mean, to this very day, he still has not regained eyesight in one of his eyes, correct?
Yeah, he still complains, like, when I last talked to him, and that was like months ago, that he said he still can't see out of his eye. He has no feeling or use in his arm. And then he was saying that he just wants to cut his arm off because he can't feel his arm anymore.
Wow. And a lot of that most likely is from the nerve damage and everything from them twisting his arms and all of that, correct?
Absolutely. And the blood clots that were in his arms that he still may possibly have. I mean,
Right.
There's a multitude of injuries that he has that never been addressed, and I'm just worried about his well-being and like what the complications are down the road for him.
No, absolutely. Very important for him to get medical attention. Absolutely.
This is where we're at now, and we need people fighting. We do.
Absolutely. And we need, you know, I want to say thank you for being brave and coming on. You know, we need these stories to get out. We need people to stand up and talk about what's going on behind these walls. You know, that's one of the things that we've seen, you know, really, you know, begin to change things and expose things. And for people to know what's going on. You know, Northern Neck is a perfect example. And, I mean, just hearing what he had to endure there, we are not going to stop until those people there are brought to justice.
Right.
You know, this incenses everything, you know, that I've always thought about and been so proud in terms of America. This is not something that should be going on anywhere in the world, let alone America.
Amen.
Of all places.
Right.
And every American ought to get pissed off about it, that this is going on and allowed to go on. Mm-hmm. And these judges that, you know, these lawyers are filing motion after motion asking for medical treatment. And the judges are just as complicit by denying that. I mean,
what is I even with his lawyers, I'm not going to call them out, but like, there's so much motions that you can do, but you have to get into the courtroom and fight that. You need to be more stern. You need to be more aggressive in that courtroom and not take this. Like, they need to be sticking up for not just Ryan, but any other person that's been assaulted or abused in these jails. Like, they're not being, stuck up for. So, and I'm kind of disappointed in the government too. Like, what are they doing?
Absolutely.
They're too worried about, who's running an office right now. Like, we need to step up for our men and women out here that had endured so much pain and suffering and loss in their families. It's just
I think it's a political nature of what we're dealing with, where the orders come down from up top. And that's the worst part of it. I mean, how does such evil people get into a position of such power? I got to imagine. And I'll put it this way. I mean, we've spoken with 7, 8 different people at Northern Neck in depth about what they've gone through. We have a podcast, Justice in Jeopardy, and Mel Holly's done some amazing, amazing interviews with some of these guys. Christopher Quaglin is one of them. And I mean, when you hear from these guys from their own mouth what they've been through, I mean, it shouldn't be happening. It should not be happening. But more importantly, I mean, some of these guys are talking about that there are good people there too, but their hands are tied. And that's what we really need to eradicate. I mean, people at the highest levels who are responsible for this, those are the people that need to be brought to justice. And it's just a sad thing that a lot of what's going on. And it's like, I mean, a lot of what's going on in Northern Neck. We're learning about it because we're out here drawing attention to the J6 political prisoners. But I mean, we've had non-J6ers call into this live stream and talk about their experiences. And it's been going on a very, very long time. And it needs to end.
It needs to end. Absolutely, I agree.
But well, thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you,
and,
Raechel.
Happy New Year.
Stay strong.
Yeah. Happy New Year to all you
Happy New Year
beautiful
to
people
you.
out there. I wish I could be there with you. Hopefully soon, once all of my mess is over and my probation is over, I can be with you guys.
All right. We look forward to
And
it,
does
Raechel.
just before we end, does Ryan have a Give, Send, Go or a fundraiser or anything like that set up where we can support him?
He does have a Give, Send, Go. It's, how can I? It's just weird because it's like the URLA. It doesn't say like Ryan Samsel. It's like a weird.
Right. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
Yeah, I apologize. I'm so unprepared.
You are so good, Raechel. You're all good.
The letter was great.
Yeah. We appreciate you coming on and sharing Ryan's
Do you have
story
any
and
idea
her
what his
story.
Give, Send, Go is, Debbie?
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm sorry I get so emotional. It's just really heartbreaking just to talk about it and just, you know.
You had people out here crying. There are people that are, and I know that a lot of the viewers, I know they were at home crying with you. So just know, that you're not alone, and our prayers and go out to you and Ryan.
And for anybody out there on the live streams that would like to support Ryan and everything he's going through, the Give, Send, Go for him is www.givesendgo.com/G2EXA. G2EXA.
G2EXA.
There you go.
They got it.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody for just supporting me with all of this, with everything that's went on with my situation. I'm out here by myself, and my family pretty much abandoned me. So we've had no communication since all of this had happened. So it feels good to have, the support out there and not to feel alone. So I love all of you, and I hope I get to meet you guys soon.
Absolutely, we love you, Raechel. Thank you so much, and we're gonna start drawing a lot of attention to this and put out the request for people to launch a campaign to really reach out to the people involved, the marshals, the jail, and try to get Ryan some medical attention. So Thank you so much.
We love you, Patriots. Stay strong.
Yeah.
We look
Will
forward-
do. God bless you.
God bless you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
USA!
Be safe.
USA! USA! USA!
USA!
USA.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Happy New Year.
You too.